Hello and welcome back to Universal Love Law. Today, I will be discussing the dark-sided Libra. First and foremost, I just want to let you guys know that if you are a Libra, this video is not to offend anyone. If there are some things that are offensive, maybe because it's some things that can be kind of true. And I don't want a Libra or you guys to think that people just think this way about Libras. Like, oh, everyone thinks this way about Libras, because this is the more dark-sided and more jaded aspect of the Libra energy. So we're not talking about a person who has a balance within them mentally. We're talking about those mentally imbalanced Libras. And those people that have more challenging aspects due to experiences that have, caused them to react and respond from an insecure place or a place of negativity. And so I just want to give that disclaimer first and foremost. You can take this video as a purely entertainment, or you can have some reality checks within yourself to see, oh, do I do this? Do I do some of these dark-sided behaviors? I know I have some dark-sided traits, me being a Sagittarius sun. There are some things that, I will be honest enough to speak up and say that I have done. And so that's something that, only you can be the judge of that. Just even if you have some of these traits, it doesn't mean that you have all of them. Some people have downright all of them. Okay, so let's jump right up into this video. So first and foremost, Libra is the cardinal air. So they are communicators, they're mental, they deal with the mind, but they like to initiate. So these people are natural born communicators, and they like to initiate the direction in which a conversation is going. Thus, they can be extremely in control and controlling. These people have want people to, they want to control others' minds and thoughts and ideas. And they do this in a sense kind of subconsciously, because they're kind of wired to direct the conversation. They don't like people to have more control over the conversation than them. They like for them to have to paint the narrative. They love to paint the narrative, which makes these people great at hosting like podcasts. They're also wordsmith in a way. They like to play with words and learn words. They like to be felt with their words. They have this very strong urge and need to dominate. The dark-sided Libras, they're very dominating. Even when they're very laid back, they can come off very cool, calm, collective, but that can also be very frustrating, because they can use that energy to play with people emotionally and mentally and psychologically. They know how to use their body language. They know how to say the right things and then hold back and not say certain things, which can make a person extremely upset and question their loyalty. Like, let's say you want to share something very sacred or very personal to a Libra, dark-sided Libra. They will be, sometimes they're very reluctant to taking your side. Like, they only agree with people that they feel as though they're still trying to get kind of trapped into their web. I like to say web of lies, because another thing about the Libra energy is they're prone to being people pleasers. Okay, so not only will they not take your side once they have you very close to them, they like to choose all sides, because they like it's like their own mind telling them that they're balanced, right? That they're not just going off on one end or saying you're right, 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 and they're wrong, wrong, wrong. No, they will go against their own partner, and it can be their relationship that they're in. They know when to agree with you. They know when to be agreeable, and they hit you at the worst time. It's when you need them the most. it's when you need their validation the most or their reassurance the most that they will pull back, because they can be very detached. They're mental people. So they like to keep the control of themselves. They don't like people to feel as though they have an emotional hold over them. This is why they kind of come before the Scorpio. The Scorpio is more aware of their darker sides in nature, and they play on that intentionally. Whereas the Libra, they're not aware that they kind of come off extremely wishy-washy, because the dark sided ones, they can be completely oblivious to the games that they may play with people on a intellectual level or on a mental level. Like, they don't realize that they could be tugging at a person's emotions or playing with a person's emotions or insulting a person's intelligence, because of their ability to manipulate the conversation or to choose your side when they want to. But they can be people pleasers, and this can cause them to choose your side when they need to, when they see it's like when they see that it's not balanced and it's no more harmony. That's when they'll try to like make you feel better about it. But these same people can go and talk about that person to their enemy. These people can be very like prone to being friends with your enemy, and so more sensitive, introverted, or more like rock solid people that prefer very close relationships. The Libra energy can probably turn them off and turn them away, because the Libra will do anything, even in secrecy, to have people on their side or just to connect. They have this desire to be connected with other people. So sometimes they can become disloyal and dishonest. Another thing about the Libra dark sided energy is they can be very sneaky. They can have a lot of friends that they do things with that is kind of separate than other things that they do with people. And so they're questioned a lot. What are you really up to? Like, because you're one way with me, and then when you're with them, they're a totally different way. And that's because they have this very strong urge to have a compatibility with people. They want that feeling is like pleasure to them. But a dark sided Libra will kind of create this web and capture people to have them under their control and manipulate them. The dark sided Libra person wants to have complete control and power over a person and be very detached and have no obligations. If a dark sided Libra person can just come and go as they please, they would much rather appreciate and like that. They would be very happier with people that don't hold them up to certain expectations and standards, and like certain codes, like principles. Like they can really go against principality and code. They can do that just to bend the rules and make things work out in their favor. They balance their scales based on how they feel, not based on what's right at times. Sometimes they can just go with what feels right within them. And when they're imbalanced, they can act out in very hasty ways. Like, they can invite people over just to like have them go against each other. They can be very manipulative in that way because they lie to themselves sometimes. So they'll tell themselves, the dark sided Libra, they'll tell them in their mind, they'll be thinking, I'm gonna like put these two people together for their greater good. Like, I want them to come together. And in that moment, they feel that way. But a dark sided Libra, once they get those people together, they will start to be combative, and that's kind of like that polarizing energy that they share with that Aries, because that's their opposite. So they can cause these very messed up situations between people, and they're like, wait, whose side are you on, and why am I even talking to you? Like, they love to put enemies together and watch what happens. They love to be the one responsible to say, oh, I got those two together, or I hooked them up, um the only reason why they're getting along is because of me. Like, they love that. Like, they love to be the peacemaker. That's their kind of like their image and their alter ego within their mind. They don't realize that sometimes they can be very like fickle, like, not genuine or not coming from an authentic place and not staying in their place. They sometimes they feel like they need to work out everybody's problems in their lives but their own problems. They'll run away from their problems. They'll drown out their problems with more relationships or new people, more different connections. And they can be, when they're jaded, they can be extremely secretive in relationships and have completely whole other families or a whole other relationships that have been going on for so long. And they will just keep a person in their web of lies, and they will just milk them with charm and keep them like all dazed in love. And this is a dark-sided Libra for you. The dark-sided Libras, they will keep a person very drunk in love by just, giving that charm and being romantic and all of that. They love romance, and they love that deep connection, but not in a sense where they are devoted. The darker side Libras, they're not going to give their devotion to anyone. They're for themselves. They are so stuck on their scale and trying to stay on their square and staying balanced within themselves that they could be leading people on, and they could be having people emotionally involved. And then they play the mind games because they're the mental, they're the air, they rule communication, and they're initiators of that because they're cardinal. So that they get in by being very people pleasing and agreeable and graceful in that way, but then they begin to play on that, and they start to play with people's minds, and they like to manipulate people. And they can be very sexual in the beginning to kind of these, especially for women. They can be extremely hypersexual and do whatever the man says in the beginning just to like kind of trap them or to get them, and then they will keep them and have them all screwed up mentally because now they're going to be playing all these mind games because they're imbalanced. A lot of the dark-sided Libras, they have mental imbalances, so it's like a chemical imbalance. And when they're that way, they like to play on other people's mental stability. They like to play with other people's head. And they're restless lovers. They cannot stop looking for love. If one love fails, they'll go into another love. And the thing about them is they do receive their karma in relationships. That's where their karma kind of plays out often. The dark-sided Libras, they may play over and hurt. Oh, and they may affect and hurt the most loyalist people until they no longer will even have those type of people in their life. The problem with the dark-sided Libra, and this is with friends, this is with family, and this is with relationships, is when they start to display these negative characteristic traits that are like playing mind games with people, playing with people's emotions, trying to control them by like kind of giving them a little bit of little reassurance, and then romance, and then connection, and then cutting it off ice cold because they have that very bad. Once they start to do that and people start to pick up on their patterns, it's like the older they get, the more jaded they become, the more negative they become, and their patterns, the behaviors become patterns that are so predictable and so easy to see that they just become restless lovers and always heartbroken and victimized from it. But they will move on to look for someone else to kind of get into their web, because they love the thought of love, they love the act of love, but they're not equipped with the emotional empathy to connect with another person. And the dark-sided Libras, and actually protect the other person. They're out to just protect their balance. And so they can be very jaded and cause it onto themselves. These people can be very disloyal too. They can have a person around just because that person is a companionship or someone that they could talk to, even when they're very well aware that the relationship should be done and they should no longer have communication with them. But they will somehow find a way to keep the relationship going because they really don't like. This is where the imbalance come. Like, it's like they mean well, but the dark side of Libras mean well, but they mess up too. Like, they just all over the place. Like, they mean well, but they also play these mind games, and if you're smart enough, you can control the dark side of Libra by really being detached within yourself. So just know that it will be a lifelong game. Like, you'll always be playing this mental game, and it will come with a lot of heartaches because it's like once they see that they don't have you on the tip of their fingers, or like they don't have you in the palm of their hands, once they see that they don't have you that way, then it's like a challenge to them because they want that power and control. They're very controlling. They want the control over your mind, though. They want to have you for themselves. And but once they see that they don't have that, they will never stop trying. It's like the opposite of the Aries. Like, Aries love to chase. They have that opposite kind of energy. Like, they will begin to chase you. They will begin to always dream of you, and they lie to themselves. They play these mental mind games with themselves. Like, if they had you once, they'll want you again. Even the females. This is male and female. Even the females, they'll do anything to have you in there. They fantasize about you, and then they can hate you. But they don't only lie to other people. They lie to themselves. They have that problem really bad. They have mental dishonesty to themselves and to others. Some signs, they when they're aware of what a person did to them, they hold a revenge to protect them. So they always think about the wrong that person did to protect them. Now, a Libra, they might not even know subconsciously that they seek revenge, but they just bring a person close just to hurt them again, because it's a secretly mental stimulation to be able to, because they know how to detach their air. They're not all dealing with the emotions. And if they do have some emotional connection to it, it's linked to their mind. It's linked to their thoughts. If you make them chase you long enough, and then you come around, you make them chase even more, it will just play more and more mind games. They want what they cannot have. They want this unrealistic, because they idolize people. They have this ideology, this of what a perfect person could be. They rule beauty. They're ruled by Venus. They're ruled by beauty. They're ruled by perfection and things of that nature. So they lie to themselves because they have this idealistic mind. They can be very influenced by social media and things of that nature to keep them lost in this fantasy of what they want in a person, male and females. Okay, so they both have this problem. And men, the Libra men, can definitely use women. They can use women to get what they want and not really care to be with them, and always be on the search for their next person. It's like they always want to have one up on a person, because deep down inside, their imbalance, their mental imbalances are so toxic within themselves. So they just become toxic to other people. It's like what they go through, their mental imbalances causes them to lash out to weaker people, and people that they could control mentally, people that they could play with their heart. They like to play these mind games and these love games and these dual, this relationship things, like games, problems. Even if it's a friendship, they just don't know how to keep those boundaries. They find little things to get into problems with another person. With everything could be going good, and they can just make something up because they're very good communicators. They always have something to talk about. And sometimes they need to learn boundaries. Like, they share some similarities with the Piscean energy as well, when it comes to not having boundaries, and when it comes to that lying the Pisces and the Libras both have that. They're very secretive and snaky and wishy-washy, diplomatic. They'll turn two people against each other for the sake of the mental stimulation that comes along with it. And you know, they'll say the whole time like, I wanted to bring you guys together. I just wanted you guys to be cool with each other. Like, they have that really, really bad. So yeah, ultimately, this is the darker sided Libra. They can be, you know, very disloyal. They can have ulterior motives. They can charm you and romanticize with you and get you lost in their web of lies just to go race off and seek someone new. They're restless lovers. They're always trying to find a stronger high in love. Like, you know, when people get high off something and then they got to keep doing it because it don't work anymore. So this is what the Libra energy do. This is what the dark side Libra do. They suck the life out of a person and then they go seek another person to do it all over again with. And um a lot of it is really due to their what they feel, their inner compass. Like I say, the more positive Libras, they will be aware of their actions onto others, and they will be content and be appreciative for what they have. They will be grateful for what they have in every relationship, and they will be aware when they're becoming vindictive and manipulative between group friendships. And so that's the more positive, you know, aware, alert Libras. Now, the more negative, dark-sided Libras, they like to play on these. They like to play those mind games. They like to play with people's emotion, and this is what can cause them to be very phony. Okay, they can also be very lazy at times. Excuse me, only doing what they feel like is beneficial to them, but not if it's beneficial to the both of you guys. They can be like, you do it, like, I don't want to do that. And then they could be with someone and talk really bad about them to other people, the men and the women. They could be with a person and then complain the whole time they're with them, just so, but they don't want to be alone, so they'll deal with that person the whole time. It's like, it's very jaded what they do. And then when they're stuck single and without someone, that's when they want to feel like, oh, I was wrong. That's when they want to think and reflect, but they only do it to see if they can get you back. They're the Joker. They're wear two faces, kind of like the Gemini, but they laugh now and cry later. They have no remorse. And so the dark sided Libra, you just got to watch out for them, male and female. They will play a lot of games with you emotionally and mentally for their own satisfaction based off their mental imbalance. So watch out. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. Please let me know what you think about in the comments below, and peace.